Hey everyone, welcome back for another episode of SpeakEasy with Eric and Cory. I've got something a little different in mind for today. So traditionally we have like a topic or we had a guest recently, but today I've got, I guess, a list of questions or topics, takes you might, and it's do you buy it or do you sell it basically. So we'll read off one of these and then debate on if we think it's true or not and go from there.
Okay. Do you think this is going to be fun for a risk averse guy? Like I'm going to try and mix it up a little bit for you.
Sure, you have no idea what's on this. To be fair, this is nothing like super. This isn't going to require you to have done like a research assignment, but
okay.
You don't know what's on here, and I know that bothers you a little bit. So it's exciting for me that you don't know.
Right.
But the first one was really easy. So, but I know you think that I jinx stuff, and so as soon as I say this, you're going to be like, "Yep, now it's not going to be true or is true, whatever." So the first take is the rain season is done.
Ugh.
You buying it, it's done, or are you selling it and saying nope?
It is mid-April.
It's April 9th.
Mid-ish April. I'm going to say buy.
I think it's over.
So with a caveat, I think the rain season is over. Will it rain again? Yes, but I don't think it's going to be substantial.
Not like in the pattern where it rolls in for a week.
Right. It's going to be like, a couple of days of a little bit of rain, less than a half inch a day, here and there, and that's it.
You just broke all the roofers' hearts out there that are
sorry, guys,
hoping for an extended service season.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you. I'm going to buy it as well. It was scary there for a moment in March. I really wasn't sure if this was going to turn into like a really long weather pattern that wasn't going to go away, but we got through it, and looking out in the extended now, it looks pretty good. I think we're supposed to get to 90 degrees here in Southern California, so I think we're looking good.
Didn't we talk about it in a previous episode where this was supposed to be like an El Nino year or something?
It's La Nina, so it's supposed to be drier in our part of the country. Right, drier and
so that tracks, I
warmer.
Guess, with my.
I think it was drier and warmer. Yeah. So I think we kind of, for the most part, met that. So yeah, that's great for us. The question obviously is pertinent to a solar company because if it's raining, one, it's really hard to do installs, right? Two, it does create service calls, whether it's people calling us for leaks that are projects we installed or not. Like we still have to go out to them. And then three, I think people aren't generally thinking about buying things like a solar project when it's raining prolonged. So for us, it's huge if this is over and we can get into our normal seasonality where it gets warm and people's electric bills unfortunately go up.
Right.
Unfortunate for them.
Yeah.
Good for us.
Yep.
All right, next one. People will start trusting solar contractors again this year.
I don't think that'll ever happen. I think that the reputation of solar contractors is so stained, it tainted. It's never gonna come around. I think the solar industry probably has like a permanent reputation of being a scammy industry.
Yeah, we've done a whole episode on this, right? And to be fair, I think solar has always had something that has made people not trust it. But the electric bill pain has outweighed the concern over the quality of a solar contractor. But most recently, right, when this new regulation changed with utilities, it feels like people really took a step back with trust. Like, I just don't understand this. I'm hearing people still have bills even after they get solar. So, yeah, the question was really around that. Like, is there enough space where people can feel comfortable now, where there's enough track record of people getting these installs, the information is starting to change where, yes, it does help. Has that evolved enough? And your answer was no. And I'm going to agree with you again. We're 2 for 2 agreeing. I don't think the trust will come back this year. Will people read an electric bill in the summer and say, heck no, and call companies like ours? Absolutely. Doesn't mean that they have gotten back that trust that will make them feel good about doing a project.
Yep, 100%.
So, unfortunately, I'd love for it to be, but 2026. Let's shoot for that. All right. Next one. Tesla can be trusted as a battery manufacturer in this industry.
In this industry.
So this isn't a car question. This isn't like a Tesla on the stock exchange. This is Tesla making Powerwall batteries and selling them for the purpose of, solar project.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting me with like semantics, I guess, but like because you're saying, can they be tested with a battery or trusted with a battery? I think there's nothing wrong with their battery itself. It's like the inverter and the way that it's packaged and their manufacturing process. I don't think that Tesla will ever be in this industry what it could have been. The opportunity that they had with the products that they put together and then just kind of completely missed the target. It was a flash in the pan. I think it's going to go away and they're going to focus on things that make them more money. So they'll probably always have products in the space because it's the automotive sale and the solar sale for homes go hand in hand. So it's like a back and forth referral type thing. So they'll always be around, but I don't think, what was the original question?
keep going.
What are they a relevant or trusted battery? I mean, I don't think it's about trust. Well, I guess it could be about trust because I just don't think they're going to have the market saturation after so long. Right now, like I said, flash in the pan, but they'll pull it back and then their support will get even worse because it's not their focus. So again, with the semantics, it's not the product itself. It's like the strategy of the company with the solar industry. So that would be a sell.
Yeah. So, yeah, I agree. It was kind of like a question where you could have gone a bunch of different ways. And I know Tesla's become even more of an interesting topic, controversial topic. That's not where I was going. This is more just the product itself, right, has been around for a while. And for the most part, the product's solid, right? Yeah. It hasn't shown major failures. It does what it says it should do, and people seem generally happy. The problem is, to your point, it's just not available enough. Homeowners call contractors like us, like, I want this, and we have to tell them they're having supply issues or they're focusing on other markets like their car division. So that's really the issue. So for me, I'm selling as well because I just think that they shouldn't be trusted because that's how I wrote it, right? Yes. So they shouldn't be trusted because I think they will just turn elsewhere. They'll focus on other aspects of their business. So
I agree.
That simple. If you want one, you'll probably get one, but with maybe reduce your expectations of like the experience.
Yeah.
You might wait longer. You might be a little pissy after you get it and it gets installed after summer's over or whatever it may be. But yeah. All right. Next one. Cory will get another dog this year. How did that one get in there?
No, that's a sell. That's a sell. I will not be getting another dog this year. I will. You can mark my words on that. No more dogs. And end of story.
So
we can circle back to this at the end of the year and see if
I think 2025, right? I said this year. I agree with you because you got a baby, not totally brand new now, but it'll be 4 or 5 months. Like, so you're still in the very like infant stages, literally. And adding a dog would just be chaos. But you've also been known to just add chaos to your house. So this isn't 100% no in my mind. It's a 80% no. And if I extended this to 2026, it's 100% yes. So like
it's 100% no in 2025. I do agree. Like as more time goes on, the danger for me because it's not for me, to be clear. This is for my wife because she's constantly sending me dogs at rescues and things like that. And I just go, nope, don't need another dog.
Well, you've always had a lot of dogs and now you have 2. Right. And
I think
2 dogs, 3 eyes. I mean, you got some space to add.
I feel like the right number of dogs for our family right now is 0. So I still have too many.
All
so
right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And they've got some longevity in them. They're going to be around for a while if all goes well.
And to be fair, Rowan is the equivalent of 4 dogs, 5 dogs. So yeah, not fair to say you have 2. All right. That was a non-industry topical one.
We are not aligned on that one. I said sell and you're saying
I don't think it will happen. I'm gonna sell it as well.
Okay.
But you said that very like definitively no.
And you're chuckling at my confidence.
Right. So if there was like Vegas odds running, right, I would take the bet because it would be good odds for me. All right. Another major solar company will go out of business this year. And when I say major, I mean a name that basically everybody knows. We're not talking about like local installer that we know, something that is on the stock exchange, something that people hear about, read about. So
Do I get to count somebody that's already on the rocks?
they're not out of business. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. I'll take that buy. I'll buy that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that will happen. And it's going to, just like when SunPower went out of business, this one's going to shake up the industry too. It's going to be a big problem for everybody.
Right. I agree. I mean, I think anyone that's in the industry probably knows who you're referring to. I'll say the name out loud. There is a solar finance company, Sonova, which is very much on the rocks. And just to give you an idea, I think their stock was like $50 in 2021. Now it's 30 cents. So, and I don't remember the exact number of their financials, but they lost hundreds of millions of dollars last year. So not in a good position. Very well documented in our network that there's installers not getting paid on time. So this creates a ripple effect in the industry, which is it goes all the way through, right? It makes it hard for contractors like us to operate if we're not getting paid on time by the financing companies that homeowners choose.
Yep.
So yeah, I buy that as well because I don't, maybe they make it out of this year, but they're flashing all the lights that SunPower did. And you never wish, someone to have this happen to them. But I think this domino is probably going to fall.
It's bad enough right now that I don't think they can make it through 2025. Right. So
and honestly, if they do go under, it's not the end of the world because it's basically like the bad part of them, potentially going under has already had its ripple effects. When they go, I think it'll finally just make people move on and stop trying to work with something that's unhealthy for you.
I mean, if you think back to the SunPower thing, there were contractors still holding on to the ideology that they're going to figure it out and we will get paid. And so they were hanging on by a thread, waiting for that money to come, and then it didn't. So there might be contractors that are mortgaging, things to try and stay in business so that they can get paid from Sonova. And then when that doesn't come, they're going to fold up.
Right. We just definitely made some people panic. They're like, wait, do I have Sonova financing? It hasn't happened yet, but it's just one of those things that's, if you're paying attention, they're a company that is on the rocks.
Yep.
So buy. Are we at 100% aligned?
Yeah. It's not as fun. I feel
we
like
need to
we
have
need to be...
The next one, no matter what you say, I'm just going to take the opposite.
Okay.
Sound good? Okay. Tariffs will make solar more expensive in 2025. And interestingly enough, right, like when I wrote this down, it was actually before Trump made baseline tariffs globally. And then also, it was before that, but now we're reading it after he has put those in and then basically put a 90-day pause on all of it, right? So there's been a little bit of a roller coaster since I wrote this. So you're going to have to factor all that in. And
yeah, I'm going to, will the tariffs make solar more expensive in 2025?
I'll say substantially more expensive. We're not going to count like project goes up $100. Like, is it substantially more expensive now that tariffs will be in play this year?
I'm going to say I'm going to buy because there's a lot of uncertainty. I think that manufacturers have a good reason to raise prices and blame it on the tariffs. Even though like a lot of manufacturers, so there's already issues, right? Trump didn't pause the tariffs on China. So you could say, oh, because of the Chinese tariff, it's going to go up. But I think a lot of manufacturers have already pivoted to U.S. manufacturing because of incentives rolled out by the previous administration. So I'm going to buy it either way because I think that when things like this happen and there's uncertainty, manufacturers have the ability to raise things, and enough stuff still comes from China that I think that it will raise prices a little bit. I don't think it's going to be substantial, but if substantial is a caveat, that matters, but I'm still going to buy. You said
buy. Okay. Well, good. I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to sell.
Okay.
So my rationale is this. One, I think solar's already been impacted by tariffs. It's already kind of baked in. So tariffs aren't new for the industry. So the solar panels specifically, right? It's just been this like whack-a-mole game of panels made in China and then made in wherever else. And they keep moving it around and they keep putting tariffs. So I feel like we've already gone through the motions of cheap solar panels getting tariffed. So that's a big thing. The domestic manufacturing has started to occur more on the inverter and panel side, which is nice. And then aluminum tariffs, they already happened. So my understanding is that happened in February, so that would have been baked in already. Probably they had heads up before that. So we probably even got increases,
Okay.
maybe even late last year. So I don't think it's going to have a major impact. And I agree with like the thought you were saying of like, well, why wouldn't they? Because now they can. Here's the problem. The industry is in a huge depression.
Sure.
So there's a ton of extra product everywhere. Raising prices means you're not going to sell it. So I think for 2025, for the most part, tariffs won't have a huge impact. That's my take.
All right. That'll be an interesting one to watch because, like, thinking back to, if you remember the conversation when we went to a trade show, when was that? February? And a couple of the panel manufacturers, or one in particular, a rep that we were talking to, was saying, if we could all get aligned, like we kind of look at each other for pricing on how to go into the market and base ours on other people's. So all it would take is one and everybody else would follow suit. So I don't know if that would mean that stuff wouldn't sell because there's only certain manufacturers that are making stuff that we can install because of the forced labor, like holdups at the border and stuff like that, which is good. Like I agree with that, but the people that are manufacturing stuff could have a ripple effect. One guy raises the price, everybody raises the price.
If they all got on the same page and did it,
then
sure.
What's available, you won't have a choice but to buy it higher, even though the market's depressed.
It's possible. I don't. Yeah, we'll see. Like you said, it'll be a fun one to watch.
Yep.
All right. Well, this next one is we are going into an economic recession this year. And I recognize in saying that, I don't even know if there's actually a true like definition of when you're in a recession. I think they generally use like multiple quarters of bad markers, like GDP going down, things like that. So
when the news folks tell us that we're in a recession, that's when. I am going to say no. I'm going to sell on that.
Not going into a recession.
Not going into recession. My answer might have been different this
An hour
morning.
ago?
Yeah. Since the tariffs have been paused, now obviously they've been paused for 90 days. So we'll see what happens in 90 days. Maybe I change my answer then. But I want to be optimistic about this. Maybe that's not the right strategy, but I want to believe that the administration sees that this could be problematic and maybe is going in that direction, and they pause the tariffs for that reason.
Yeah. I think same answer, like pre the tariffs going on hold, my answer would have probably been yes. I'm not an economist, but I think the last time that we tried a strategy like this was like World War One? Between World War I and World War II? We were trying to like re-incentivize American manufacturing that had gotten paused for the war. So, spoilers, that didn't work. It caused a depression. So,
well, times have changed, but I agree with the sentiment. Like, I think U.S. manufacturing would be great, but I don't know. I don't want to dive all the way into the politic argument here, but I'm selling.
That one. I think now that they are paused, that was pretty much my mind the only thing that would have sent us into a recession. Right, we would have had those multiple quarters bad in a row if the tariffs remained globally. So I'm sure what this will be represented as by the administration is this was leverage. This was our way of negotiating, and if that's what it is, then that's what it is. But I don't foresee us going to recession now. Look how fickle the stock market is. Right,
already recovered.
It tanked and then it gained back like 8% in one day, solely based on the tariffs being listed. So
yeah.
Glad we're not going to recession, according to us. Cory won't finish a car project in 2025.
I will agree. Buy that. Yeah. I don't know. I set a goal for myself last night. I was walking down the stairs, and I don't know why I was thinking about this, but I'm like, it was actually our like marketing schedule. We're a partial sponsor of the Murrieta Rod Run, and it's in like November or whatever. I'm like, I'm gonna take my car to that.
That's my goal.
Yep. So, Taya, mark me down. I'm gonna put my car in that show.
Hey, bad news. They just told me today that my car didn't even get registered in time. So, dream crushed.
Sweet.
Live.
Okay. I'm still gonna drive it down there.
Okay.
And walk around and look at other people's cars.
You said buys. You said that you believe you're not going to. Which one is
no,
it?
I believe that I won't because
Okay.
I have a baby, but I still set a goal. I'm an optimist.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try.
Yeah.
But it's been down for, I think this summer will be 2 years that it's been down.
Yeah. It was like
for what was supposed to be a simple.
I remember one day you just texted me like, I pulled the engine out. Like it was just randomly on a whim. And then you bought the manual trans you always wanted, and you had a bunch of pieces right in the garage, and you kind of put it together, and then it's been on pause. I know it's not running exactly what you want to, but it's just funny. Like for me as not a car guy, to watch a car guy work on a car, I'm like, I don't even believe you're trying to finish it. I think you just want it there and look at it and play with it when you want to.
Every time I go into the garage, I'm like, that's a cool car. I'm sure it would be fun to drive. And then I go back inside.
Yeah, that's an easy buy for me because it's just not getting done. That's your dog answer that you gave.
Thanks for the
100% no.
Wow.
You're not surprised. All right. Here's kind of a fun one. Elon will be remembered as a villain when the dust settles. So he's kind of like taken on this new persona, right? Whereas before he was like the leader of all things progress and saving humanity, and now he's a totally different, at least for some of the country, person. So does he get remembered as a villain if we fast forward 10 years? Like, how's he remembered?
Well, that's going to depend on who you ask. But generally, I'm gonna buy that, and here's why. I don't see him trying to change the narrative. And I'm not looking. I'm not like reading up on what Elon's doing right now, but it doesn't seem like he cares about people's opinion. Which I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't care, but if somebody called me names and I wasn't that, I probably would say, hey, I'm not, and I want to support you guys, and he's not doing that. And so I think that he'll be remembered the way that he's thought of right now. And it's hard. That's a difficult subject because he's doing so many things for humanity that he's made more progress on like space exploration and stuff than NASA has made in many years.
Right.
So it's hard not to like feel positively about the things that he is doing. Electric car progression, whether you love them or hate them, electric cars, his are better than any of the others and have been for a long time.
Quick story on this. So one of our employees, Michael, has an electric vehicle, right? Not a Tesla. And he was going on a road trip this last weekend when he was on vacation. So I asked him how it went. He was taking an electric car, and he's like, oh, it was kind of a nightmare in the sense that like the charging network wasn't working. Like multiple, I can't remember the name of the network he's using that's non-Tesla, but like every stall wasn't working. He's calling and they're like, yeah, we're sorry. So like he couldn't charge his vehicle along the way. So it's like, cool, you've made a nice looking vehicle that theoretically works, except none of the gas stations are open for you. Yeah. Like Tesla has this locked in. Their charging network is rock solid. Like it's, the infrastructure is on a whole different level.
Yep. So, getting back to the like main point, I think he'll be remembered as a villain. But I think that people can think he's a bad guy and still give him credit for like the positive things too, you know?
Yeah, I'm going to buy that he's going to be remembered as a villain, and I'm going to keep my answer very simple. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head that has gotten this close associated with Trump and then has recovered reputation-wise for the other half of the country.
That's a good point.
Even the lawyer that turned on him, I can't remember his name at this point, the one that did some jail time and came out, he's like so anti-Trump now, and no one really cares, right? Like it feels like once you go that direction, that's your camp. That's your permanent jersey you're wearing. So to your point, some people remember it differently, but I don't think he'll recover his global reputation in this country.
Well, I would argue against like that particular point because nobody knew who that guy was before he was associated with Trump. Everyone knew who Elon Musk was before he was associated with Trump.
Rudy Giuliani.
Okay.
I mean,
that might be a better example because he was the 9/11 hero guy.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, he's a little kooky anyways, but I mean, I feel like his reputation went from whatever it was post 9/11 to like a laughingstock, basically, right? Like he's everybody's favorite person to make fun of and villainize.
Yeah, I'm still gonna stand on my my thing for Elon that people knew who he was and he was making like positive change for humanity, and there will be this period of time that he is cast in a bad light. And I'm not saying any innocent or guilty of whatever things, I don't know, but after this, he will continue to make progress with SpaceX and Tesla and things like that. And I don't think Giuliani is the same. I don't think he was making positive progress for humanity and isn't continuing after Trump. Now he's just being weird and filing for bankruptcy and all that type of stuff. So.
Yeah. You know, maybe Elon can just turn it around if he just made more Powerwalls available. like he's watching.
Right. He's one of our subscribers.
Just tweet at him and be like,
man, that was a like, you're giving me the rough ones. I feel like I'm going to get stabbed after this podcast.
Well, just for saying that Elon's going to be a villain. I mean, I think everyone kind of generally is getting that.
Yeah.
Vibe, but all right, where did I leave off? You'll like this one. Whole home backup will become the standard in the next 5 years.
The meter collar is making that a thing. So we're unfortunately giving people the ability to, without control, back up their whole house. So there's a house that I've referenced on the podcast before in my neighborhood, single Powerwall with meter collar. They have an EV and they have a pool.
Explain a meter collar a little bit more depth.
Oh,
people
right, sure.
Don't understand what that is.
So it's an isolation device. So if the power goes out, it separates you and you have your own microgrid. So your own power system, the battery is feeding power to your house and you're separated from the grid. So without the extra energy from the grid to try and run a pool and charge an EV and all this stuff, they have 13.5 kilowatt hours of storage, which is not a lot considering an EV battery. Even the small ones are like 75 kilowatt hours. So even if you were fully charged when you left your house in the morning, you drive to work and then you drive home, you're probably going to need 13 kilowatt hours of charge plus running your pool pump. So that battery just a single battery can't do what people need. It's for backup. So, as long as it's the power is out for hours and not days, it can be a thing.
Yeah, sorry I made you go on that rant. I just wanted the explanation out there. But essentially, functionality is whole home backup. Capability is not such. Right. I always like bad analogies, but like, I don't know, trying to power all of your plumbing with one bottle of water. Like, cool, the pipes are going all the places, but you don't got enough water. Like,
yep, that's not a bad analogy. That's a good analogy.
Sometimes I try. So anyways, the real question though is whole home backup. So that's what exists right now. Your point is that's driving the narrative already with not great technology.
That particular component, the meter collar, the switch isolation device, is extremely cost effective and it's a very good piece of technology. I like that. I don't like how it's being deployed with single battery units, not enough to sustain
the cheapest
for a longer
possible way to get it out there.
Yeah, everybody's like, and customers come to me all the time and say like, hey, should I wait on getting a battery because the technology is going to change? And I'm like, I've always been thinking about the battery chemistry itself, and I'm like, I don't see that changing. But this piece of equipment is technology change that is driving costs down. Not the battery itself is the same price, but making it cheaper to install is huge.
Right. So I'm buying as well. Probably for a whole different reason, but I agree with everything you said.
Because you don't dabble in the dork stuff. So
no, I'm gonna go from the other angle of just the utility company. They just keep shooting themselves in the foot repeatedly. They're pushing by trying to make solar more difficult to make sense of financially and changing the rules where batteries are needed and when can you use them and what the sellback rates look like. You're just pushing people into this path. And at the end of the path is whole home backup where they're isolated away from the grid. So I just believe that their intensity of pushing us has picked up. So I think 5 years, especially with things like you're talking about, I think we're there. I think we're there where I might make you take a guess. So what's the percentage of people in 2030 that when they do solar for us, projects that are whole home backup?
100%.
No, you'd say 100% of our projects are?
Yes.
That's your guess. Heard it here first, folks.
In 2030, with meter collar tech and batteries, assuming some advancement, I mean, that's 5 years from now, and solar marches on pretty strong with tech. I expect there to be powerful inverters, and maybe even we've taken an advancement in the chemistry of the batteries. So there's like some salt batteries and things, like some cool tech, but it's a long way off from being deployed in the field. Even if we stayed with lithium iron phosphate and the meter collar, a more powerful inverter and a better like building codes and stuff, I think we would be running with that setup. So I think it will just become the new norm. We don't do connection with anything other than meter collar.
It surprised me when you first said it, but then when I started thinking about it, it's almost, why wouldn't you from a cost standpoint if it's available? Similar to this meter collar option, right? Like people don't have to pay much to get it, and all of a sudden, poof, they have access to like whole home backup capability. So yeah,
it's not even the like factor of trying to sell it to a homeowner. It's just easier for the installers to install. We'll use Tesla as the example. It's easier for us to install a Tesla Powerwall system with that backup switch, the meter collar, versus the gateway. But one of them is required. So why wouldn't we use the easier one?
Yeah, it makes sense. And then we could finally tell people, don't worry, the utility company can't change the rules on you, because that's what they will keep doing.
Well,
right?
They will change the rules, but if you they won't be able to get to them. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a fun one. I don't know if it was always on this glide path of 5 years, and who knows, maybe it's 2 years, maybe it's 7 years, but I always thought it was longer. But then everything that's transpired over the last 2 years has pushed it into such a pressure cooker. So it makes me excited, because I think we're all tired of everything changing all the time.
Yes.
It's ridiculous. Electric vehicle adoption will dramatically increase amongst conservatives.
I don't think so.
And you know why I'm asking, right? Because seemingly as soon as Elon became the evil empire to the left, the right all of a sudden seems to be defending him and kind of pro Tesla to some degree.
I think that they're defending him as a person, but they still think that electric cars are yucky. Like I don't think that that's going to change necessarily. I don't expect the people defending Elon right now to run out and buy a Tesla to support him. I think that they're just going to support the guy.
And to be fair, I think I worded this like it would dramatically increase. It doesn't take much to be dramatic when the current number is probably 0%. You know, like a 5% adoption rate would be huge. So
we live in a very saturated area for EVs. But yeah, in the middle of the country, I don't expect there to be a bunch of Teslas popping up. I don't think I'm going to see a bunch of farmers driving Cybertrucks around. But yeah, I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah.
That's a sell.
Yeah, I was kind of curious. I think I'll probably sell it as well, because as much as they're supporting, I think they're more supportive. To me, this is just like the enemy of my enemy, right?
Yeah, right. So that's again with the analogies. Perfect.
I think that's all it is. Like, yep. But hey, I think everyone universally likes electric golf carts, right? Like we're not like running and saying it has to be a gas powered cart. So sometimes there is like a shift that can occur, and you don't really know what's going to cause that. And I don't think Elon was the block for everybody. I think it's more just like the rapid progress and taking away things that you like. There's something about having things that are nostalgic or traditional that people don't like having stripped away from them, just because it's more progressive.
Like an old car. That doesn't run in your garage.
But I do think the numbers will go up. They have to go up because, in the adoption curve, those late bloomers eventually get into the curve. So it will go up, but it's not going to spike to 10%.
There's not going to be a bump because of this. No. I don't think.
I agree with that. I only got one more question on here. I'm kind of sad.
This has been fun.
I like just like the rapid fire. Don't stay on one topic too long.
I got to be honest. I was worried about this because I'm like, I don't want to be put on the spot to make a a decision that is going to get me beat up or whatever,
right.
you know, but I'm surprised at my ability to answer the questions. I think I've answered them all. Like, I'm not trying to ride the middle or whatever. I'm answering the questions. So this was fun.
All right, last one. I don't think this is a good ender, so we're gonna have to like improv one. But the last one I have on here is Cory will sell his truck this year. And
which truck?
I put this on here, your work truck, your main one.
Oh.
And the reason I put this on here is because you are very much like a not stable person in your vehicle count. There is no loyalty to like what stays in your garage. I feel like you're constantly thinking about like from a functional standpoint or whatever, a fun standpoint. And I feel like your truck has been on the docket for a while of like, am I going to trade this in and drive an old truck to work and then have something more economical? So you don't have to give all what you're thinking in your head, but like, or do. But what do you think the odds are? Would you say this is a buy? Mm-hmm. Sell the truck this year?
Well, obviously, you know, we would discuss it, but yeah, I think the odds are high that I would sell the truck this year and go into something more practical. So like I have a big diesel truck, and I've recently been driving all over Southern California to meet with customers, and I don't think that's super practical. We're spending a lot of money in fuel, especially with like the prices of diesel right now. I think that, and like it's a big truck. So when I take my kids to school, I take the smaller vehicle, and then I come to work and I take this, and sometimes I take one of the company trucks because I need a ladder rack. And so I could just condense into one vehicle that makes sense for all three factors, and I would save a lot of money.
Yeah. I kind of figured that would be your answer, and I'm buying it as well. I feel like for all the things that aren't going to happen this year, just for the type of year it is, that's something that's in our control, right? Like getting smarter about the vehicle, you know, that we're cruising around in. And yours, based on how much you drive, right? I don't want to do the math in my head, but it could be $5,000 to $10,000 of gas easily, probably closer to $10,000 a year.
Yeah,
that's a lot of gas.
Yep.
Diesel.
Yep. And then the functionality of just like multiple vehicles for me to use. Saying like I get rid of one whole vehicle plus the truck, that's significant as well.
Yeah, that's cool. That's exciting. Something to, and plus maybe even the prices, you know, they've been down, but maybe with all the tariff stuff that like a trade-in value of a truck is higher because the replacement price is higher.
Oh, interesting thought. I actually saw a chart on social media yesterday for like manufacturing, where they manufacture and what the manufacturer is, like GM, Ford, blah, blah, blah.
It was like Tesla the least.
Yeah.
BMW and Mercedes were a ton.
Yeah. And then there were some Chinese manufacturers at the bottom
no one's ever heard of.
Ridiculous, but I've never heard of them. But like Rivian was on there, which is something that I would look into for getting for a work truck. And it was like $2,200 or something.
Not
more.
Terrible. Yeah. Considering the price tag on that, it's not bad.
But GM was more than GM was like 6,000
in the middle
or
somewhere.
Something. I was like, oh, yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't want to end on that one, so we need one more.
Taya, what do you got?
Or should we do one about Taya?
Let's do one about Taya.
Will Taya finally get a boyfriend?
Bye. Yeah, I think she can do it.
I sell.
No,
I just think she doesn't care enough.
Yeah, she's too smart for men.
Is this an ultra like hot take here?
No. I'm just she doesn't need to do that right now. Just be smart, go to school, stay in school.
She's not in school.
Go to more school.
Go to podcast school.
Go to podcast school and just continue to grow as a human.
Yeah. Plus, I don't know, from what I hear, the dating pool isn't exactly great right now, so not exactly fun to participate. But yeah, I'll sell. Not the year. This isn't the year. Focus on the podcast.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I got to change my answer. No, I already said bye. I'll stick with it. I'm just gonna be the do the Eric thing and go opposite you, and I'm gonna say bye.
That's fine. So hey,
we'll have to circle back to that one.
We'll circle back on all of these, but that one for sure. What was the other one you wanted to circle back on?
I don't know. One of them.
The tariff, if it increased the prices in the solar industry.
Will the prices go up? Yep.
Yeah, we'll circle back. But yeah, this was fun. Just to change of pace, something different. Just topic roulette style. Probably be fun to have another person here too, a guest. So maybe next time we'll do it. We'll select someone that, might spice it up a little bit, but
I definitely think that we should do this again. I definitely think that we should have a guest when we do it. And I think that like all 3 of our subscribers should send us.
You're bringing the count down. I mean, at some point you're like -6 subscribers.
All -6 of our subscribers should send us questions.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Bleep bloop it in the comments.
Yeah,
one of my like favorite YouTuber guys says that. Bleep bloop it in the comments.
It in the comments.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks again, guys, for joining us for another episode of Speakeasy with Eric and Cory, and we'll see you next time.